What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, then just welcome to my channel. This video is going to be, I think we're on, what is this, video 3? Video 4 is 4. Numero cuatro. Numero cuatro, okay? I feel like I'm supposed to be rolling some of them R's, but whatever. This ain't a Spanish lesson. Okay, it's a makeup video where I do my makeup and tell you true story behind the Amityville horror film. It's a good movie. Check it out if you haven't seen it. I'm sure you have. It was a big movie. But anyway, Ronald DeFeo, I think that's how you say his last name. I don't know why all the tales that I choose to tell have these ridiculously difficult names to pronounce. So he was a junior. He was born September 26, 1951 to a lovely couple. I forgot their names, but yeah. They had a baby. They actually had a bunch of babies. He was the oldest of 5 children. He had 2 younger brothers, 2 younger sisters. The entire time that I have had my coffee, that I've eaten my breakfast, that I've prepared my lighting, which has me a little washed out, a little more washed out than usual. The dogs have been quiet, but listen to them. The disrespect. His father was a domineering and abusive man. His mother was very demure. She just let him be him. Sounds like that's the recipe for a serial killer. Unlike a lot of the stories that I've told lately, usually the kid grows up being very withdrawn and all that. This was not the case for Robert Jr. He was a troublesome young man. Like, he lashed out physically, he lashed out verbally, he didn't want to go to school. He was just a troublesome child. Y'all let me forget to put on primer. Why didn't nobody stop me? Oh well. Oh well. Robert was always in some kind of trouble, like always. And then as a teen, he got into drugs, alcohol. He was just a rebel out here in these Amityville, New York streets. He was not just a victim of his father. Like, granted, his father was abusive, but he oftentimes would lash out physically to him, threaten to whip his ass. One time, he even threatened him with a gun. So he wasn't just some little meek, mild victim of Robert Sr. They were both toxic, okay? They shared the toxic crown. The parents decided, like, maybe we can make Robert act a little better if we bribed him. So they started to give him money and gifts. Like, they really spoiled him in an attempt and effort to make him just act better. But it didn't work. He just took their money and continued to do him. Now, the family was not poor by any standpoint. Like, they weren't rich, but they weren't poor. They were very much financially comfortable. They owned an auto dealership where Robert Jr. worked, technically. Like, he had a job there, but he rarely showed up. And then, of course, he had his little allowance anyway. So homeboy was receiving that check regardless. If I was getting a good little allowance and gifts, I wouldn't show up for work either. Blue, please. The disrespect. On November 13th, 1974, Robert is now 23 years old. That's the day after my birthday. Yep, my birthday is coming up. I'm a Scorpio. November 12th is the day that God blessed the world with a very special girl. The lighting in this video is stressing me out. Anyway, November 13th, 1974, like I said, Ronald is... Did I call him Robert early? His name is not Robert. It's Ronald. Ronald. Pretty sure I said Robert like 63 times by now. He's 23 years old and he decides he's gonna leave work for the afternoon early. So he goes down to the bar with some friends, and for whatever reason he begins to like constantly call home. I don't know what he wanted, but he's calling home, nobody's answering, and of course he's been drinking, so he is really like pissed, he's mad, he's expressing to everyone in the bar how upset he is that they're not answering. And so finally, after he's called a bunch of times, he decides he's gonna head down to the house. Now, Ronald re-entered that same bar at about 6:30 the next morning, and he's all frantic and screaming. He's like, I think my father has been shot. I think my mother has been shot. Somebody help me. And so a couple of nice patrons from the bar decide, oh, let's go help. Like, I don't know why nobody decided let's call the police and send them, because I'm not going. If it might be an active shooter in your house, don't come get me. Call the police. I'll let you use my phone. I'll call them for you, but I'm not gonna put on my shoes and head down to your house with you. They get back to the house and discover that not only has his parents been shot, but his young siblings as well. All 6 bodies were in their beds, face down, and all of them had been shot with I think it was a 35 caliber high-powered rifle. Now the parents both had been shot twice, and the children had been shot once. And lucky little Robert, he hadn't been shot at all. I just called him Robert again. Ronald. Everyone had been asleep at the time of being shot except for the mother and one of the daughters, Allison. They both were awake, and the estimated time of death was 3:15 a.m. There were no signs of struggle present on the bodies, no evidence that they were drugged, no sign of, like, what is it called when people break into your house? Forced entry? None of that. None of that. None of the neighbors that were awake reported hearing any gunshots, but they did recall hearing the family dog like barking like crazy in the middle of the night. He was trying to call for help, baby. He said, please, somebody come quick. Of course, Ronald's alibi of being at work and at the bar crumbled because it's like, girl, you took off from the bar well before 3:15, Miss Girl. Sir, the family had been killed way before 6:30 when you showed up at the bar, so it's like, that didn't quite check out. Police are growing increasingly suspicious towards homeboy, rightfully so. His story is changing like literally almost every time they ask. Finally, he confesses to murdering all 6 of his family members. He said that he heard voices that told him to kill his family. He got an attorney and they put in an insanity plea. The prosecution argued that while Ronald was on drugs and was clearly intoxicated that evening, he knew exactly what he was doing when he committed the Amityville murders, and that he should be held responsible completely and mentally for his actions. They also brought up his troubled past and like his rage and all of that jazz that they had experienced or he'd been known for in the past as evidence that homeboy was just troubled but not crazy. It also asked police that night how he would go about collecting the insurance or like contacting the insurance to get the money from the life policies. So that also gave them ammunition to say that he had a motive behind killing everybody, and that was to get some money. So he goes to trial. The jury convicts him of 6 counts of second-degree murder, not first. He receives 6 concurrent 25-year life sentences, which I feel like he made it out kind of good still, because if they weren't concurrent sentences, if they were like to be served consecutively, then it's like back to back to back, you're never getting out. But he can serve all 6 of his life sentences at the same time. He's only 23 at the time of this crime, so he'll be what, 48 when he gets out. He'll still have time to have him a little life. Ronald is currently being held at the Sullivan Correctional Facility up in New York. He's still alive and well, and that's not where this video stops, because if you've seen the Amityville horror, the movie does not start with these crimes. From my recollection, it doesn't start with these crimes. Like, it starts from the family that moves in after these murders take place. In December 1975, a year after the murders, a young, well-to-do family moves into the house, and less than 4 weeks later, on January 13th, 1976, they get all their stuff and they move out, okay? They hid it in the middle of the night and they never return to the home. They go to stay at Kathy's parents' house for the night, and they're like, you know what? No. The Lutz were the owners of a multi-generational family business. They were not known to be in any deep financial troubles. They got the house for a really good deal, actually. I'm pretty sure it was difficult to sell at full price with the like local people that lived there knew what happened. Nobody wants a house that 6 people were murdered in. But like I said, they got the house for a good deal. They had money. They weren't known to be scammers or liars or anything like that. Weird people. They were just a regular, normal young family. In the weeks that they spent in the house, George would wake up every night at 3:15 a.m. and then go check the boathouse. And he did not know why, and actually it wasn't released to the public at the time that that was the time of the family's murders, but he found that out later. That's weird. As soon as they moved in, the house became plagued with these nasty flies, and it was the winter, so it's like, girl, what are y'all doing here? It's not your season. Kathy began to have these, oh, I want to do an eyeliner. Kathy had vivid nightmares about the murders in the exact order that they apparently were murdered, which she didn't know. Of course, that's not something you would know. The Lutz children also began sleeping on their stomachs, face down, in the exact same position that the bodies were found of the DeFeo children. Weird. Like toward the end of the time that the family was there, the husband, George, he started to experience like most of the phenomenon that was going on. He would hear like the front door slam in the middle of the night. When he would go downstairs, nothing would be there. He said that it was loud enough to where it should have woken everyone in the house, but everybody else was still sound asleep when he went to check it out. So that was strange. One night while in bed, Kathy was said to have received these red welts on her chest caused by an unforeseen force, and then she said she was levitated 2 feet off the floor. After realizing that something isn't quite right here, something is so wrong with the house, something that they can't explain with reason and rationally, the couple decided to reach out to a pastor or a preacher, whoever flicks the holy water, okay, and holds up the cross, one of those folks. They carried out a blessing on their home on January 8th. George held up a silver crucifix while screaming out the Lord's Prayer. They allegedly heard multiple voices screaming out, "Will you stop?" like over and over, like, "Will you stop? Will you stop?" I don't know if it was quite like that, but that's how I imagined it, okay? And then I guess they stopped. I would have stopped. Let me tell you something. I don't like bugs, so I wouldn't have made it to all the cool stuff that was happening. I would have been out at the flies. And then I don't like to be waking up too out of my sleep. So homegirl, I would have been out at the flies and 3:15. Door slamming at the most. That blessing on the house did not help. Stuff was still going on, so they decided, let's just try this one more time. They did it again the next week, which was about mid-January, and this turned out to be their final night in the house, because whatever force was in the house asking them politely to stop the last time wasn't having it this time. Now, they did not go into detail about what happened this night. They said that it was too frightening to describe, and so we just don't know. But whatever happened caused them to grab their kids and leave the house with the shirts on their backs, nothing else. They literally never returned, and they were like, you know what, I don't care if we lost money on this house, because at that point they had put a lot of money into the house, like refurbishing it. They were like, you know what, damn that house and damn that money. We are out. We are not staying here. And they literally never, ever returned. The question is, did an evil presence already reside in the Amityville house before the DeFeo murders, before they even got there? Because, you know, the kid said, he claimed that an evil voice told him to kill his entire family. And just like Ronald increasingly became worse and more violent, George felt himself becoming more, more of the same way. So do you guys believe that the house is haunted, that some evil force prompted the teen to murder his entire family? Or was he just a troubled teen that was just a little crazy? I want to know what you think. I don't even know what I think. I do know that had the family been in some type of financial trouble, like if they didn't have money, I would think that maybe they decided that the house was a bad investment and that they just wanted out, like for financial reasons. But they had put a lot of money into the house and they had a lot of money. So I don't know. But regardless of what happened, it made for a good movie. Made for a good story. That is it for this video and this look. I would like to know what you think about the story down below. If you believe that the house was cursed from the beginning, if you believe that it wasn't, but maybe like the family was haunting the new family that moved in. I want to know what your thoughts are. Leave them down below. Like the video if you did enjoy it. If you enjoy the look, share the video, subscribe if you have not, and I will see you tomorrow. Peace.